Good afternoon. So my name is Nicolas. I'm coming from the European Commission. I'm the Deputy Head of Unit for Information Security. I'm here with quite a number of colleagues. My colleague Walter, just here, Mike in the back, and Danile, I think, next to him. So we are basically in the European Commission on a kind of collective endeavor to move our staff to Matrix. And I'm going to explain a bit what we've been doing so far and where we're trying to go. So where do we come from? So 2-3 years ago already, we had as a strategy for digital workplace and instant messaging, basically to use Teams as a main tool. And we were using, and are still using, Signal as a backup tool. And this was reasonably satisfactory, but we had some security concerns on the one hand, and also some flexibility issues on the other hand, because, for example, Signal is very secure, but we have basically very little control on the solution, and we don't know where it's going. There were also some API issues and so on. And so we've been looking at what was going on, and we've seen that many member states, so countries like France, Germany, Sweden, were deploying relatively big Matrix instances. And so we talked to these people in the countries and said, "What are you doing with Matrix? How is it going?" And the feedback we got was at the time that it was working quite well, but still there were still all these teams. We were talking to the Bundeswehr in Germany. They had like teams of 15 persons or 20 persons, and they were doing some forks and some developments. And that for us was too much. We thought, okay, this is too much work. But still, last year we thought that the product and also the solution that is offered by Element was increasing in maturity, and we said we have a lot of open source activists in the Commission, and one of them came to me and said, "We really need to do it." So we said, okay, let's do a proof of concept, and we started a proof of concept for just to see. And so our requirements basically were to have something that could replace Signal as a backup tool, and something that would be relatively that would avoid some security issues we have at the moment. Some of the security issues we have with Signal, WhatsApp, and the other tools is, besides that we don't control them, is that we have a lot of identity usurpations, and this is a problem for our VIPs. We were not using our SSO to connect to the tool. It was also using the private phone numbers of colleagues, and we were looking for a solution that would not use the private mobile phone numbers. And then the EU institutions is a galaxy of 70 entities, and what we were seeing is that we don't really have a tool to communicate securely across all the EU institutions, or to do it simply. And so there was a big interest in the federation options of Matrix, even though we know so far it's still a challenge, but we know that we needed to do, there is a way forward in this direction. And then, because my unit is also responsible for the classified systems, we wanted to have a tool that we can use in classified environments, so meaning completely isolated. So we decided to do a proof of concept and something very simple to start with. So we ordered and to do it as secure as we could. And so we ordered 2 virtual machines in OVH that are Secnum Cloud certified, so meaning They have a certification from the French ANSI regarding the way they are deployed, the way they are managed. It's a kind of very strict landing zone. And we ordered some services from Element to deploy the solution. We had like 3 months of discussions on how to do it, because the team from Element absolutely wanted to use Kubernetes. And in our team, people were saying, oh yeah, but this is one additional thing to manage, and this is going to be a lot of problems. And so we decided, but in the end they won. So we said we want to do out of the box, and we want to do the same as everyone else. So we deployed basically the community edition of Matrix in that server, and we deployed as a client Element X for our staff. And what are the lessons learned of that? So we could easily enroll 500 persons, but that's not a lot. It was relatively easy to implement. No big issues, and we had a strong support both from the community and from the team of consultants. On the configuration, well, there are plenty of options, but in the end, it was relatively easy. The integration, in particular with our single sign-on, was very quick. In the deployment, we tested various options for video, which worked quite well from the start. So our experience is that it's quite good. At the same time, this drive in the Commission for more sovereignty and more open source has been politically more supported. So now there is a very strong support from our Commissioner Virkkunen, in charge of the digital transformation, towards more open solutions. So our colleagues at the back, so Mike and Diana and Daniele, have more or less decided to expand the solution to the whole Commission. And so what is on our table for next year? So it's not in a priority order. It's kind of what we're working on. But we're working on finding a suitable agreement regarding the financing of Matrix and the type of contracts we will have. We're working on our side on deploying it in our air gaps environments, which are used for classified issues, mostly defense-related activities. We're working on the resiliency of the architecture. We're doing a pen test. We're looking at the code. We're looking at these kind of things. We're looking at specific use cases. One of our initial use case was to replace our emergency warning notification system, which is costly, which costs a lot of SMS licenses. And if we manage to go to instant messaging instead, we will spare a lot on that. We are looking at federation with other institutions. In the POC, we have 6 institutions, the European Parliament, Europol, Eurojust, that are also preparing some Matrix instances in test, and we're trying to connect, and we already have a working connection with the European Parliament, and we're trying to discuss common requirements on how to have secure interconnections between institutions. But that's basically where we stand in the Commission, and basically I'll stop there, because as you see, it's the start of the story. So we don't know everything. We're very confident that it's going to go, but I'm open to your questions, and I think my colleagues in the room as well.
All right, thank you, Nicolas. A little bit quicker than I was expecting.
Yeah,
thank you.
sure.
So do we have questions from the room? Anybody in the room? So I was involved in the early stages of this. I didn't remember that there was so much resistance to Kubernetes, but maybe it was because your guys were quite eager to learn it anyway, perhaps. I'm not sure.
Well, in the Commission we have different architecture stacks, different backgrounds and stories, and we take time to agree on architectures. And I think in the future architecture that we will have, we have not yet decided what will be the final platform for the solution.
I see. Thank you. Any other comments from the room? Oh, yes, here's one.
Just to be sure, this will be a closed federation, so a citizen or, I don't know, an external person who wants to communicate with the EC will not be able to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the big issue for us is we need to find the right trade-off between security and openness of the solution. And, well, I'm talking from security. So my colleagues who are more from the digital workplace might have a slightly different view, but maybe not. But we will start with a closed system until we really master the interconnection with other instances, because there's no point in replicating, the system that we have in Teams now, where you have all these guest accounts and so on. This, it has some limitation, and it's a bit cumbersome. It's not super secure. And on the other hand, if we open completely, it's uncontrolled. So we're really waiting to have secure session border controllers, and to make sure that those border controllers are safe enough to ensure that we don't have the identity usurpation problems and the spoofing and all kinds of issues that we have with email and open instant messaging. So otherwise there would be no point for us compared to what we have with Signal or other systems. So it will start close. And then it will gradually expand to trusted other stakeholders. Also, we're looking at, for example, our single sign-on is integrated with eIDAS. So there you have basically a strong identity verification. So maybe it's still to be assessed, but maybe if combined with a strong identity verification, maybe it will make sense to extend. But this is still far in the future.
Thank you. Very good. What is the definition of air gap environment in this case? Okay, so we have classified systems which are fully air gapped. We're going to deploy Matrix in there, and we have basically our normal digital workplace, and my colleagues will deploy it in there as well as a closed environment, but still on the internet. So it means that with a normal PC, a normal connection, you'll be able to reach it if you're a staff member or of the institutions. Is it something like your colleague from the NATO explained last year, that he has one dedicated server? Well, we have a system that, yeah, exactly like NATO. We have completely air-gapped systems which are aside from the rest of the IT infrastructure, and we will have Matrix in there as well. Okay. Starting in a few months.
Oh, yeah, we have more. There we go.
You are using Matrix as an emergency system if you have any outage of Teams. If I understand what you said, do you plan to move out of Teams in the future?
No.
Leave?
Not. It's not me doing those type of decisions, but I don't think so.
Good question so far. Do we have any more? I'm going to check the chat one more time, just in case I missed something. I did not. Okay, then please join me in thanking Nicolas for his presentation.